That's how my week's been, though, man, so far.
Sorry, gang, we're having a little trouble on the signal with VanDam right now. We're trying to stay with him as much as we can.
Stick around, Kevin VanDam, signal or no as much as we can here. Back to Hank Cherry. About 40 minutes before that showed us a 8+, we think.
Lord.
Well, check your watches. I think you threw out the number 9:30 in the morning. That's about exactly the time that this fish came on.
Wow.
For Kevin VanDam, and we thought he was hung up. He thought he was on a log.
And folks, if you did not see about 10 minutes ago, he thought he was, said he got really lucky.
That's what we're looking
pulled
for.
Off of a submerged tree, one of the biggest shots we have ever seen on Bassmaster Live.
After the last tournament at Wheeler, you know, it's good to be out there, but, you know, I want to win one of these bad. It's been a while for me, and, you know, I know it's going to be a challenge. I got 2 more days. I really struggled today, but I'm going to get an early boat draw tomorrow, and that'll change things up. So I got a lot of game planning to do. I got a lot of work to do on some equipment, and we'll figure it out. And hopefully have a good game plan tomorrow.
KVD is halfway to the Century Club.
You're watching the ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend, brought to you live by Toyota.
Days, it's funny. I wake up in the morning and nothing else matters except where and when my first bite of the day is going to come. And we have so much going on in a tournament, getting gear ready, in and out of the truck and the boat, prep and tackle, all that kind of stuff. And probably one of the most favorite pieces of gear or equipment that I've got is my ARE Z Series cap, ARE's premier model, and it's easy to see why.
that one right there.
He's fished here for decades. He knows every hump, every drop-off, every contour. He's dedicated his entire life to understanding this single body of water. And he didn't know squat about it until 2 hours ago. AutoChart Live lets you build your own high-definition maps anywhere in the world in real time. Only from Humminbird.
If you love bass fishing, then show your support by joining B.A.S.S today. Since 1968, B.A.S.S has been serving bass fishing enthusiasts with information and tournament coverage that make you a better angler. When you sign up today, you'll join over 500,000 outdoorsmen who love bass fishing. With your membership, you'll receive every issue of Bassmaster magazine, plus $50 in free gear, including a membership tackle bag, B.A.S.S cap, plus more. Call us or log on to Bassmaster.com to join Bass now.
I thought, oh, it's a big one, but a lot of them I've been catching that way. I don't know. Big one. God damn it!
These islands. I think we got number one in the boat. You know, the bigger fish is coming for me.
Like that right there. Gone. What a hog.
Yeah, baby!
Bow! Right there.
Woo! Put him on old big side there.
How about that? There we go. Oh, there's a good one. Boom! And I got a 10XD in my hand. Right here. Right here. That's bad. You got it? That's good. Top 12. Sometimes you just got to show them something different. That's swim bait.
Live coverage of the ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend will return after this short break.
there.
Think you could win valuable prizes from Bassmaster? You can't know unless you enter, and entering is easy. Go to Bassmaster.com. Enter now for a chance to win a fishing trip with 2014 Geico Bassmaster Classic champion Randy Howell. Trip includes airfare, hotel, rental car, and $500 cash, plus a Triton 17 TX bass boat with Mercury engine, and Randy's gear from Lowrance, Daiwa, Bass Pro Shops, and much more. You, the winner of a valuable prize, could be. All you have to do to get your shot is go to Bassmaster.com and enter today and every day. Hey, it could be you.
30, 29, 28, tick, tock. 25 years old, and you're still playing in the mud. 15 feet in the air, that's where you feel most alive. 10 meter maze, waiting to wallpaper your truck. Better get out of town. 5, 4, 3. The all-new Tacoma. Toyota, let's go places.
You're watching the ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend. Brought to you live by Toyota.
Yep, newsflash for you. There are big fish at Toledo Bend Reservoir on the border between Louisiana and Texas. We saw a few normal-sized fish this morning. Among them, this one from Kevin VanDam. You referred to it, Mark Zona, as a bonus fish. Something that he'd been hoping to get a hold of a limit of each and every day of this tournament, which he did on day one.
Mixed in with this one right here.
Watch this.
Oh.
Oh, no. Oh, this is the one Kevin VanDam caught in our last half-hour segment there. Thought he was hung up in a tree right when it first got on.
I like to call that an extra-sized bonus fish, Tommy Sanders.
That is an extra-sized, giant, oversized, largemouth bass. What a giant.
Unbelievable.
I'm saying over 9 for that fish.
Exactly right. He's going to jump on the water right now after that beast was caught. Going to get out right now with Hank Cherry, Bassmaster Live. Thanks. Gang, if you're just joining us on Bassmaster Live, we have some really, really special treats today. We have a guest coming in a little bit.
Yeah, we can say, I got to go find it and share in a minute because we got a very special third wheel coming in here.
I've never had that before. Next to, our faithful leader,
expected the whole time for this to be where the big one comes from.
But I'm going to throw a huge congratulations.
These bushes look so good.
Gang, let's all give a big congratulations to our Kevin VanDam.
Okay.
Producer of the weekend for Bassmaster Live, David Lipke. Having a grandchild last night join us.
No, fantastic.
Grandchild born last night.
Oh.
7 pounds, 11 ounces. David Lipke, huge congratulations.
Way to go.
He is the wheels on the bus.
Absolutely. He
Love
is the
that
bus.
guy.
He is the chassis and the main airframe.
Don't like him. Love him.
Absolutely.
Huge congratulations to him and Robin.
Working hard.
Yes. And came into work today.
No kidding.
Absolutely. Dude, I wouldn't be here.
Heck no.
I'm hesitant about cracking into them too hard because I've straightened out so many hooks. There's that big old dead snake. That sucker's big. See him in there? He looked like a log. Yeah, he looked like a log, but he ain't no log.
Dead snakes and all, he likes this place. I mean, he plans to work it over today.
No doubt about it. We said early in our broadcast, what he's concentrating on is where the wind and the storms have bashed into these little islands of bushes and made the depression. A lot of people want to know the depression. Not drastic. I mean, where a lot of these islands go from a foot and a half of water in these bushes. He said the key was where you'd find a depression of 3.5 feet. And he said there's not a lot of bushes that have that depth butted up against them, but when you find it, that's where the key bushes were throughout the week.
Again, about an hour ago, we saw Hank Cherry land an 8-pounder,
maybe
more.
I mean, it sits right in the middle of the ditch. You can see how it runs up through there. But it ain't about what I think, it's about what they think. Then my islands are the key. Whatever shape, form, the islands are the key.
See it right there, Hank Cherry and Kevin VanDam, virtual tie. And this is what got him up on top. Hank Cherry about an hour and change, hour and 5
He had
minutes
just
ago.
lost a fish, and this happened about 5 minutes after that, earlier today.
That's
Hank Cherry.
Wes. He's wanting to get some slow-mo. So he'll kind of be creeping on us. Don't look at him too loud. But let him know what you want at the same time.
Share my lunker. Ha! There you go, Dad. There's your 8-pounder. Over 8. Thank you, Jesus. Get your big butt in there.
That's what I tell my girlfriend.
Woo!
Breathing a little excited.
Oh my God.
Well, that one had an effect on him and everyone else who was watching here.
No
Hank
doubt
Cherry
about it.
went on to tell us, how, this is maybe a turning point for him. He's had a couple of struggling seasons, and he's getting back into a different way of preparing and trusting himself and what he does, and kind of all came flowing out right there. It was very interesting to watch.
And gang, if you're just joining us on Bassmaster Live, about the same time yesterday, starting to have a little bit of sketchy coverage with some of our anglers. As soon as anybody comes up, we'll get you out to them. Right now, got a little bit of footage with VanDam too. Double box, Hank Cherry, Kevin VanDam, Bassmaster Live.
They're
Thanks.
here, too.
Again, just to bring you up to date, I know a lot of people joining in right now. Kevin VanDam, 30 minutes ago, was 9 pounds behind. 9 pounds behind our leader. And he's almost even the score with one single fish catch we saw about 15 minutes ago.
With 2 bass in his live well.
Yeah.
That we're guessing. This is earlier today, gang, and these are the game changers of this lake. This right now is
a bite.
You know, you're looking at a 4-pound fish or better. Earlier this morning when he was trying to get that shad spawn deal going again, this was the only one he put in his boat. Let's call it about 4, 4 1/4. And then this happened about 30 minutes ago. Oh. So we've got VanDam with 2 bass weighing about 13 pounds.
13 pounds, yeah. Maybe even more.
Able to land that cleanly, no hooks in his hand.
That's what we're looking for.
But it took him until 9:30, as the time that, all due respect to you, that's what you said. Maybe the time things start happening for him. And he did not catch a lot of fish yesterday.
No, he didn't. Not
a lot of keepers.
You know, where he was really benefited on day one is he mauled them on that shad spawn thing early and was able to make critical upgrades later in the day. And
most of them didn't even leave over there. They're all idling all around on it, you know.
he said he really needed a combination of them. Look, they're pulling water out of here because of how high the water is, but he really needed that combination that you're seeing right there of the current being pulled and the wind.
A little breeze.
Yeah, he said he definitely need, you know, wind has been a big help for VanDam. Double box, Kevin VanDam locked up. Hank Cherry.
You love that phrase, don't you?
I do,
You
and I'll
love
keep
that phrase.
using it. I'm
know
big
you
on
will.
redundancy.
Nope.
It's all I got. Jack. There, a lot of folks on our feedback today are really starting to. Number one, there's been a lot of hate on their Such all day long today, which I'm up for that.
Really?
A lot of,
Has there been?
There has,
haven't
Tommy. I've
looked
peeked it
as
in and
closely
out.
as I
There's
should,
been a
I
lot of
guess.
hate towards all of us, and rightfully so. Number one.
Now, really?
But number two, now we're splitting hairs on the difference between pitching and flipping.
Oh boy.
Okay.
I can't wait to have that argument settled. We wouldn't be wasting our time on that.
Oh my God.
Time well spent.
Such, you got anything from the blog?
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of fish catches.
You dial those
Showing
up
their
for
fish
us.
off.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Gerald Swindle.
About a 5.
I got another picture coming later on.
Okay.
Steve Kennedy with solid fish. Struggled to catch a limit actually yesterday. Nice fish right there from Marizo.
Yeah, Marizo moving back up the scoreboard. Had a great
Jonathan
day one.
making
Hey, Johnny VanDam.
Six.
Having
I
a
think
rough,
they reported it as
rough
6.
year.
7.
Paul Mueller. This
Paul-
was early today.
early.
7-pounder. Very
Still his
right.
only fish, I believe.
James Nigmeyer. Wow.
A nice
Man
fish
from
too
around this
today.
area here.
God, it's amazing when you have a
Flip
tournament
version.
here at Toledo Bend and see one 3 to 4 pounds like that right there, and you're like, wow, that means nothing here.
No,
it really
it's
doesn't.
nothing. Yeah, Brandon.
And how about
there
that?
we
Back
go.
to
The new
paper.
grandbaby. How
Our
about
producer,
that?
David Lipke, proud grandpa last night. And I'm going to say he's kicking a Zona shirt right there in the background. Shameless plug right there for myself. if you
Oh
don't
my
mind me
gosh,
saying.
really? Yeah.
Gosh,
or is
I
that
don't like me.
photoshopped in too? I don't know.
I do not like me.
Yeah, there we go.
Best
Okay, you
blog
were
of the
making
day.
fun of Rick Clunn's hat
Stop
yesterday.
it.
Thank you so much.
Stop it. We love Rick.
Come on.
Absolutely love Rick. Now, hold on. Here's the gift.
Oh no.
This was at Wheeler Dam right here, gang. Let me set this up. You know you're a hardcore fisherman. My buddy Joe Durham and Scott
Oh
Gilly
my
sent
gosh.
this earlier.
Now I
This
see
is
what you're. Oh my gosh.
when I don't know if that's legal or not, but I'm going to tell you something. Number one, I like the family practicing safety. Everybody has life jackets on. But when you bring your playpen, what's that called? A baby pen? Baby
Yeah,
cage?
playpen.
Playpen?
Playpen.
And use it as your back deck. You are, in my book, is what's called a hardcore.
That's right.
There you
Most
go.
people just
fish
turn the
you
whole
can't-
boat into a playpen. That's kind of what happens.
Kind of like the Bassmaster Studio is
A
what
little
it
bit,
is.
yeah. Kind of one big playpen. Back to
Bassmaster
Hank
Live.
Cherry. That was a great picture.
It was
Where did that come from?
Joe Durham and Scott Gill, a couple guys I fish with, live down near West Point.
Oh,
down
sure, I
that
know
Lake,
those guys.
Lake
Yeah.
Eufaula.
Yeah, yeah.
And they said you might want this pic for someday. I said, yeah. How about
Like
right
right
now?
now.
I want it.
Thank you. That was a nice present.
I'm going to put my 16-year-old twins in one of those this week in the back of my boat. Exactly.
Bass Track tweet has Tommy Biffle with a 6.5 pounder. 15 pounds on the day, almost 16.
Hey, and Tommy, we got a big surprise coming.
Yeah, we do.
after the
We
break.
got a
no,
welcome
no,
addition.
It is
to
not
our,
a big surprise. It's an enormous surprise for everybody.
and a welcome addition to our crew here. You'll enjoy it as well. We will unveil who it is when we come back. Lots going on here.
I'm going to go in my playpen for a while.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Start thinking in terms of that. We'll be right back with more Bassmaster Live.
You're watching the ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend. Brought to you live by Toyota.
The competition is fierce, and the prizes are huge. The only thing missing is you. Fantasy Fishing presented by Toyota. Sign up for free and face fans from across the nation. Grand prize winner receives a Triton Yamaha package, including a Triton 189 TRX. MSRP of $37,293. The classic and each individual elite event winner will receive $2,500 Bass Pro Shops gift cards, with the runner-up receiving a GoPro Hero 4 black camera. Sign up and pick your team today at BassmasterFantasy.com.
Live coverage of the ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend will return after this short break.
29 pounds, 3 ounces!
Edwin Evers here, 2016 Bassmaster Classic champion. In celebration of Lawrence winning the last 5 Bassmaster Classics, we're going to extend the ultimate upgrade promo. If you buy an HDS Gen 3 with Structure Scan 3D, we're going to mail you a $300 rebate. 5 Bassmaster Classic champions in a row. That doesn't happen by chance. That happens because these units are the best.
The ultimate predator has evolved again. Now, Yamaha B.A.S.S SHO Performance is prowling the waters in 4 hungry, exciting new models. With their 4 valves per cylinder and double overhead cam fuel-injected design, these advanced 4-stroke predators are taking performance to a whole new level. Vicious, lean, efficient. B.A.S.S SHO. The pack is growing.
Your choice of fishing apparel can make or break your day out on the water. Added mesh vents for superior breathability. Moisture transport cooling technology to keep you dry and comfortable. And antimicrobial to keep you from smelling like your catch. With added SPF to keep you protected. We've added stain release to keep the blood or any other stains at bay. Our most technologically advanced fishing shirt for all the necessary dirty work.
We were born to innovate, to find a better way. New Berkley hard baits. New designs. Trigger-loaded actions. Mind-blowing colors. Because everyone wants to catch more fish.
If you love bass fishing, then show your support by joining B.A.S.S today. Since 1968, B.A.S.S has been serving bass fishing enthusiasts with information and tournament coverage that make you a better angler. When you sign up today, you'll join over 500,000 outdoorsmen who love bass fishing. With your membership, you'll receive every issue of Bassmaster magazine, plus $50 in free gear, including a membership tackle bag, B.A.S.S cap, plus more. Call us or log on to Bassmaster.com to join Bass now.
You're watching the ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend. Brought to you live by Toyota.
Bassmaster Live. We put some stop sticks out on Interstate 30, like they use on cops, and this is what we came up with right here. We'll show you in just a minute. We found a fantastic guest for us. We intercepted our guest, who's about to meet any moment now, as we roll back into the Toyota Bassmaster studios to introduce one of the heroes of bass fishing, certainly a champion Bassmaster Elite Series. Mark Menendez, thank you so much. Yes. Interrupting your trip home with us here.
Well, it wasn't much an interruption. I didn't have anything to do today but drive home, so
well, that's the bad part of the story. We won't dwell on that too long. I mean,
Well, it's, you have those events. It was a tough event for me. I had one small area, Mark, and I milked it for everything I had. Never got one of those giant Mimi basses, those great big ones, and it's just one of those deals. You just kind of get through it.
One thing we were actually talking about yesterday before we, and gang, we are locked up tighter than a drum yet again out there. But before we get on the water, one thing I want to, for everybody that, look, we've got a lot of folks on the chat room today that fish Toledo Bend, Rayburn, Fork, and all those lakes, but also for a lot of people that don't, when they watch Bassmaster Live or a Bassmaster Elite Series show from Toledo Bend, it looks easy, but it is not there.
It's really not. It's a giant lake. You've got multiple things in play right now. You've got shallow water activity. Got a few fish still on the bed, Mark. A few late spawners moving on out. The majority they're in that in between. So Kevin's intercepting the ones that have been out there that were early spawners. Those were ones that have been out there for a while, because you can see how big and fat. They're clean looking fish. And Chris Lane, he's up there shallow, and he's picking the ones off that are headed towards Kevin.
Here's one thing that and I want you to go up inside your head here, is how hard it is on a lake like that, where there's so many different techniques, patterns going on, to where you have the voices saying, all right, need to go flip, I need to go crank offshore, I need to go throw a mid-depth crankbait. That's one of the problems there.
It truly is. I mean, you have so many options right now. I caught them flipping bushes, just like at home on Kentucky and Barkley Lakes is how I was fishing. You've got that mid-depth. You've got the topwater bite that is surprising me. I missed the shad spawn totally. And then wind killed us in practice to get out there and find those offshore deals like Kevin's doing. He found a couple of those key places, and there's not a lot of big ones out there yet. There's lots of these little guys. You can drop shot and catch all the little ones you want to catch, occasional good keeper. But to get a school of them found, that's a pretty big task.
One of the things that we're noticing here on Toledo Bend this time, it seems every time we've been there, man, it really kind of seems like Indian Mounds to the dam on the Texas side has been the regionalized player. This time around, it's a lot more this. Is that because, as far as I guess you could say really the whole lake is at play this time compared to other times we're there? Does that have to do with the water level?
I think it has to do with the water level. I think it has to do with the fact that the grass is not down at the other end like as thick as it was.
Right.
So it spread those fish out more, where they were very confined to grass points, any kind of contours. In prior events, there's not much down there. I mean, there's not hardly any outside on the main lake. So that spread those out, and the fact that we've had the high water, which was completely an abnormal situation, it's kept those big fish shallow, and those big fish are going to try to stay shallow as long as they can.
Hank Cherry, we're watching right now, got a good picture, good signal up from him, and he, as much as anybody, as much as you can do here, found something a little bit different to do. When you won Elite Series event here in Arkansas, you did the same. You found something different, a place that was different. And it's seems to be a recurring theme out here. If you can do that, you're going to prosper.
Well, the elite guys, I tell you what, join the Elite Series to get your feelings hurt, Tommy. You go and you think you've got something dialed in there, and you're catching 3.5 pounders, and somebody's going to catch
We
5s.
talked about that yesterday.
Sure. Oh, giddy up. I mean, don't wear them on your sleeve, because you're going to get them knocked off on your feelings.
You have played this guy. I've known each other for 20 years, Mark.
And you still haven't grown up.
well, Tommy has not either.
Me neither, yeah.
Not really. Actually, I've knocked him down a peg or two.
Thankfully.
Talk about the Elite Series now, from all the way back when you started this. And I guess here's what I'm saying. There always was, back when we met each other, there was a 3 to 5 year hard learning curve for rookies. There is not anymore.
It's not. And the one thing that I dictate that to is technology. Our Lowrance units are so much better. I used to watch a little red light go round and round and round. That thing's called a flasher. You can get them at any antique store these days. Still love to use one. Would love to go back and have a throwback tournament where you could only have a map and a flasher, and let's see how it throws out then. I think that would be great.
Sort of agree with that.
But technology is so much better. I can drive directly to the juice with my Lowrance Insight Genesis. I can drive. I don't even have to look around. Look, right, it's right there. Oh, look, big plug, got him.
VanDam said that day one.
You can't. We didn't have that then. So you had that learning curve. Google Earth. My gosh, I can practice at home. I don't get to practice anymore. I don't get to go pre-fish. I can't, being a single father at home with two children. You just go look at it and you can figure it out.
And we were talking about, techniques and stuff like that yesterday and how fast people can learn those. The old way was to open up a Bassmaster magazine 50 days after a tournament.
Yes.
Well, now you can tune in
an hour and a half later and be on the water.
Exactly.
It is. It's just expedited.
Which is a positive and a negative.
It is. It is a positive and a negative. But there's still one thing, Mark, that sets it all apart. Remember the old joke about the old bull and the young bull standing on top of the field?
Well, I don't think it's a joke.
It's true. I'm the old guy now, and my roommate is Bradley Roy, a 25-year-old kid. I've roomed with him since he came out here from Kentucky. I've known his parents for a long time. Great kid. And still, after he has 6 years of experience, he's like the little engine. Let's go, let's get up. We gotta go.
Settle down.
And I'm like, dude, chill.
Slow down.
Look, we'll ease over there.
I have to say that to Tommy all the time.
Oh, yeah, sure. But that's what it is, and the experience gives me the advantage. I don't panic when I get out there, and I can't get out there and do what I want to do because the wind's blowing or the weather's bad or whatever. You learn. I caught a fish yesterday. It was the coolest fish I've caught in years. It was my limit fish. I pitched up into a bush. I'm shaking that rodent out of there, and the fish comes up and looks at it. And I drop it right back down. He goes back down on it. I pull it back up. He goes up, goes down. He swirls at it, misses it. I just power pole down. Didn't have power poles long ago. And I just pitched every little dark spot around there until I found where he went, and I put him in the boat, and I weighed him in.
You cornered him.
That's that old bull mentality.
Was there a lot of spawning fish at this event, or are we looking at the last 10 days of it?
It's the last of the last. Okay. But there were a few, and there were a few good ones that you'd occasionally look by and go, oh my goodness, look at that. Looks like St. John's River.
I didn't offer you. Did you want a juice box?
Hey,
no, I'm good.
He just walked out of his truck here from off the highway. I want to show you, Markman. This is what we've been looking at all morning long. See what you make of it. This is kind of a little highlight reel we've gotten put together because it has been an eventful day. Started with Kevin VanDam with a 3.5-pound lead, and then we start seeing stuff like this. All sorts of good catches from, as you say, different venues.
Right there.
This huge, vast fish.
Big destroyer.
Taking a look at some of the earlier fish catches, here's what I throw to you. It obviously seems that the spread out quality, I'm talking 3.5 to 5 pound bites, are still with your guys fishing shallow, like your Hank Cherry, Ish Monroe, Chris Lanes. And looking at Hank Cherry earlier this morning, obviously these guys are benefactors of the water level and time of year.
Absolutely, I think so. I think if we were here 2 weeks later, there would be a whole slew of, the water temperature is 78 to 80 degrees in places. So that's going to push those fish out. But a few of those remnants, Mark, are going to stay shallow, and a few of those big ones, just like Hank's landing right there, it always works that
and
way.
There are, in this lake, gang, there are two distinct different populations of bass. There's a gazillion bass out deep that don't even come shallow here.
I don't think so. I think a lot of those fish actually spawn out there in some of the crooks of those giant trees, and that's why they have that. All of those 10-pounders that have been caught and recorded this year, 138 or 40, however many it's been. I think that's why.
Two keepers in the boat at this point for Kevin VanDam. We saw one just moments ago. This is the other one right here.
We like to call these quality fish here in the Bassmaster studio. And Mark, you know
That's what we
VanDam as well as anybody. He obviously has this crazy distinct advantage on the Tennessee River lakes where he has a gazillion years fishing. So, you know, when he comes to your house down in Paris, he has a rotation of 60 spots. The difference is, here at Toledo Bend, he does not have that distinct advantage because, number one, we don't have a lot of history of offshore events here. I mean, he has a rotation here that we were talking of 5 spots.
But that's plenty. Because all he has to do is go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and when that school moves up on number 5, it's lights out, as he says, in minutes. It's a little different at Kentucky Lake. Everything's a little shallower. So what you're looking for as far as structure here, a lot of times it's 15 to 19 to 20 on top. And there's more offshore environment at Toledo Bend than there is anywhere else. It's more than Kentucky Lake.
Vast.
It's just vast because there's all these little turns, all these little drains that come in. The big fish can pull out in those drains. Sometimes they move up into the bottom. Sometimes they're on a corner.
Where you're saying it's not quite that highway effect of the Tennessee River.
It's not pulling in right here and it's game on.
All right. Hey, we're going to
Good
take it
stuff,
down.
man.
We're going to take it
Can
down.
I ask you a favor? Will you never leave? It helps.
We're going to leave the studio for just a minute, take you down to Cypress Bend Landing. That's where the weigh-in's going to happen at 3:15 Central Time today. Is when the festivities get started here at Bassmaster.com. And there's Dave Mercer, always bringing us the good content from down there. Dave, ready to crank your show up today. What do you got for us?
Oh, we got one of the biggest in the industry, and a guy that I know was a popular pick in fantasy fishing. Unfortunately, for the first time ever, does not make the 50 cut here. Dean Rojas, a two-time winner here on Toledo Bend, and we've often joked that this place, obviously Florida's been pretty good too with the all-time record, but Toledo Bend, a special place. And this morning when I saw you in the dock, you were part of the stocking program. I said, Dean, this one's got to hurt a little more than most, and it definitely does. I'm sure.
they all sting when it's like that. I've had so much success here, and I talked about it on stage yesterday. This little acre here, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of exuberance, a lot of great things that have happened to me out throughout my career, right here in that pavilion and up on here on stage in 11. So, and then multiple top fives, and just awesome memories here. So every time I come here, I feel like I'm going to win again, and it's one of those lakes that I feel totally comfortable with. I really embrace the lake, and today was a special day today. Today was a day of giving back to the lake that has been so good to me over the years, and we did that stocking program this morning. We took 3 big bags of fingerlings out, there, 10 more years, and you're going to be catching 10-pounders.
That may be the
awesome.
best celebration in the history of the Elite
That's
Series.
my last celebration. Believe me, the next one's going to be even bigger than that one, I can promise you. It's exciting. It's so hard to win. It is so hard to win. And, I want to feel that again. I want it again. And it's a special place.
Now, a lot of pre-tournament favorites and guys that we're used to seeing being in contention here in Toledo Bend kind of struggled this week. This phenomenal fishery, and I mean, it's been like a infomercial for the lake. You watch a weigh-in and everybody walked across stage saying, wow, Toledo Bend, how incredible it is. Yeah. But with so many pre-tournament have had good history here, struggled this time. Why do you think that is?
I think it's the water level. The water level is as high as it's ever been. Even when I won here in 2000, it was at 169, 170, and it was in the bushes. I mean, you had a foot or two. There's 4, 5, 6 feet in the bushes right now. We've never had water this high. It spreads them all out. They're supposed to be out, and I was, and I was hoping that they were going to be, and I knew because but there's just small fish up there, and as you can see from how shallow they're actually catching them, and the size is what's impressive. I mean, it's impressive to watch this because this doesn't happen, especially here this time. Topwater fish in the middle of the day. On a big body of water, when there's not a cloud in the sky, it's fishing different, but it's a cool different, it's awesome, and there's big fish here, man. It's awesome.
When you look at the two different patterns, obviously Hank Cherry off to a great start here today, a great tournament and a sneaky silent tournament. A lot of people, obviously Kevin VanDam getting all the bells and whistles and everybody talking about KVD, but Hank Cherry is a scary critter to deal with, but you've got the guys are fishing shallow and guys offshore like Kevin VanDam. At this point in the tournament, I mean, we're only halfway there. Who do you think is on the better fish? the fish that can sustain all the way through to Sunday?
Well, I think if you look at that leaderboard, the top 5 guys, VanDam's the only one fishing out. I know Ish is fishing shallow. Obviously, Hank Cherry is. Lane, I know, is because I saw him in practice. I know exactly what he's doing, and Browning also. So, with that being said, if it was a regular tournament, I would say, yeah, they're probably going to struggle but the water is so high, and there's so many targets, and there's so many bass in this lake that I think it's just going to reload. And if not, they'll just go to the next creek over. I mean, because it's the exact same thing. If they're following a river channel or a swing bank that has a hard edge on it, where there's timber there where they can flip. I mean, they can just run to the next one. I mean, that's the beauty of Toledo Bend. It is so big that you can literally fish a pattern for the whole week and follow it. So I see this, and I see even Steven with 57 pounds, he's one big bite away. One 8-pounder, and he's going to take the lead. I mean, so you have jammed up there in the top, and it's going to be a shootout on tomorrow. It's going to be exciting to watch.
I got to believe, 83 pounds, I think the biggest winning weight we've had here in the Elite, that's going to get decimated this week. I mean, KVD was at 50 pounds yesterday. Or do you think the extra pressure of the other anglers on the water, a lot more spectators, a few very big events happening here, and, there's a 4,000 boat tournament next week, a big fish tournament, and you got to believe a lot of those people are going to say, hey, let's go check out how these guys are catching them. A lot more pressure. Do you think that mark is in jeopardy, or do you think it's going to slow down here into the weekend?
Well, on the first day when Kevin weighed, that was the first question that came to me: is it going to take 100 to do it? And I said no, it won't. It'll come close. It'll be high 80s, low 90s. Be the winning weight. I mean, if you look at Hank Cherry, he's at 63.6 right now. He busts a 20-pound bag tomorrow. He's at 84 pounds. He's still 16 pounds off of the 100-pound mark. So they need to catch big ones to eclipse the 100-pound mark. So I said high 80s, low 90s. But it's Toledo Bend. I mean, you can see everybody's catching big ones. It's cool to watch, and the way they're catching them. So
let's have a look at some of those big fish from earlier today. Obviously, but weighed in one of the biggest fish on tour just a few years ago, almost an 11-pounder, 10-15 Ish Monroe, and finds himself in 4th place here. Destroyer. And that's how his day started. Those are the kind of bites that you really need here. I mean, that's a kicker bite in a lot of places, but really that's the bites you need on Toledo Bend to compete.
Yeah, each time I won in 11 and 01, in all the high finishes I had, you have to have a big bass every day. And that's what I did in 11. I had a 7, a 6, a 5. And back then, now it's not a big deal. You need a 7, 8, or 9 now, it seems like. But even back then, you had to have a big fish to anchor your bag. I mean, because there was a lot of 12, 13, 14-pound bags that were pretty simple to catch, easy to catch here on Toledo. And that's what's going to separate it. I mean, Kevin had an 8.4 the first day. Monster, that 9-pounder yesterday, and what it does, it just catapults you right to the top of the leaderboard, and that's exactly what you need at this lake. And whoever Hank caught the big one today, and whoever's going to catch the big one tomorrow is going to win.
Look at this giant fish right there,
yeah,
Hank Cherry.
Awesome,
what a way to start the day. It's 8-pounder. He kind of said it might be 9, it might be better. I mean, it's so hard to tell when they get that big. I mean, I think you guys are pretty incredible at judging 3-4 pounders because what it is, but when they get that big, really tough to judge them. But the guy that everybody is looking at, our 2-day leader, he's led it from day number 1, KVD again here today. And the amazing thing, how hard is it for him to when you see him compete, I mean, he runs from spot to spot. Do you think he has to fish offshore? I mean, the shallows just couldn't handle that kind of pressure.
Yeah, I know from the classics that I'm on the bank, I have to stop 100 yards, 150 yards before I actually start fishing because of the boat wakes and everything. Kevin's just a great angler, obviously, and he's a great offshore fisherman for what he does. It's phenomenal to watch him, fish with that many people around him and to still catch them. And he's something else. It's cool that we live in an era, I fish in an era where I fish against him all the time. I fish against him my whole career, and he was struggling a little bit about a month ago. You see people saying, "Oh, what about Kevin?" I kind of feel sorry for him. I go, don't ever feel sorry for Kevin VanDam, because he is like a cobra waiting to strike, and you're watching it now, because he's dangerous wherever we go. He's always a threat to win, and you can catch a 30-pound bag, 25. Yesterday he goes, I only caught 20. I had a terrible day. I go, dude, don't cry over here. Take your river of tears and just go over there, because I don't even want to hear it. So. Kevin's a great friend of mine. We hang out a lot and do a lot of things together. So, but it's cool to watch him. I'm a fan too.
Well, Kevin VanDam, the last time he was at this point in contention, everybody's saying, oh, he's going to win this tournament. Guess who won that tournament? Hank Cherry. Can Hank KVD's Achilles heel? I mean, in Muskegon, Michigan, everybody said that was Kevin's tournament, and really going into the last day, that's what it looked like. But Hank Cherry obviously took that title, and I mean, he has really had a consistent tournament. He hasn't. If you look at KVD's bag, I mean, he had 29 pounds and then 20. Cherry had, basically a very consistent tournament all the way through, and a much different fishery when he took his last victory, Muskegon, Michigan, at the Toyota Trucks All-Star Championship. A fish like that here. What is that called here? A little baby 4-pounder like that.
That's nothing. Yeah, that's 2.5 pounder.
But Hank Cherry, he off a tough season, and tell me about that, because it's amazing to watch guys, and I'll really pay attention to it a lot when a guy has a tough season, and especially the guys that really seem to be hitting their pace. Like Hank Cherry was definitely at the point in his career where it's like, hey, he's a classic mainstay.
Yeah.
Had his worst season ever last year, and really has turned things around here. Talk to me about what that's like. I mean, I hope you do not ever experience.
No. I have a theory on it. It's almost like when these guys come on tour their first year, it's like a brand new girlfriend. Everything's new and exciting, and and you catch them. You have a couple of good tournaments. All of a sudden, the momentum builds. Things are happening. You're making good choices out there, and you're like, man, I got this, man. I can compete against these. And then the second year rolls around, and you lost a couple fish, made some cuts, and the third one is usually the one. It's you're either gonna plummet, which is kind of what Hank did. Hank's a great angler, obviously, and he had a couple years there after that classic there at Grand Lake, where he just wasn't there. You could just see it, it was away. Now he's come back and he's fishing well, and it happens to all the guys on tour. We've been doing this a long time, so you get to see happening, and then after the third year, they realize, I got to catch him. I've got to catch him because I am getting my butt whooped. And then all of a sudden the pressure, and then all of a sudden, to perform, and you have to do this every day, day in and day out, and then you almost become numb to some of the things that normally you would get really excited about. I mean, 6-pounder, I'm like, it's in the box. I mean, before you're like fist pumping and everything's excited and everything, but, it's a matter of now, it's just like, man, we got him in, let's go catch another one.
Well, on the water live right now, and as you said, a very versatile angler. We've seen him in contention with jerk baits, crank baits, and obviously flipping here today. But I would imagine, I mean, just play Dean Rojas's mind for a minute, watching a guy lead this tournament right now, fishing in a way that you're very proficient. Got to make it a little more painful.
Well, I didn't do that in practice. I was, the 30 limits. I figured they were going to be deep. I went south to see there's some bedfish available. Those weren't happening, so came back up here and fished offshore. But the problem was, for 3 days the wind blew, so you spent a lot of time out there, and it was very, very difficult for me, to put it together. I could catch them out. I caught an 8.2 on the first day of the event, so that worked out really good. But I just saw that, and for some reason, it just told me not to go up there. It just wasn't. There was too much cover almost, and for me, it was just. I didn't pay enough attention to it.
Well, Hank Cherry, unofficial leader right now, with 63 pounds, 6 ounces. And one of the interesting things is Hank Cherry said this is the first time he's in a tournament. I mean, talk about a shot to the groin, right?
That just shows you how weird this event is and how unorthodox it is. You got a guy, if you just told me after the third day you got a guy fishing shallow that's probably has a good chance of winning, I'd have said, probably not on this. Not in May. Here on be one out. So, and of course, you got a guy who throws a jerkbait all the time, flipping. So now I feel twice as bad.
Little known fact about Hank Cherry, actually, if the money was the same, he'd be in carp tournaments. Loves to compete in carp tournaments.
Really?
That's what he does in the off season. I know you like to mess with fast cars and boats and that sort of thing. He likes to enter carp tournaments, and he loves carp fishing. Just show, one of the things me and him have talked about is how different species of fish can really. I mean, a fish is a fish, right? I mean, bass is very different, but you can learn a lot about a fish, just by fishing by other species. And one of the things that I find unique, and I'm going to ask you your theory on this, because there's a lot of guys who never stop fishing. Brandon Palnick is on the water somewhere every day of the year, whether the Elite Series is on or not. And they step away from it. They do not fish intentionally to build kind of, that desire to get back out there.
Fight and everything.
Where are you at with that?
When I was Brandon's age, and same when I grew up through the tournaments and stuff with the same path. You are so excited to be doing what you're doing. You want to go everywhere. You want to do everything, and fishing a lot of tournaments, any event you want to get into. As you get married, and as you start to have kids, and as things change in your life, and in your experience. I mean, he's still learning. We're all learning, but there are. I know a lot more now than I did back then, and when conditions change, I'm more adapt to move with it, and so I don't feel like I need to be on the water all the time, for that. And for the simple fact is, I don't want to get burned out. A lot of these guys, they come to the tournament, they're tired. As soon as I hit that first day of practice, I want to be strong, and the minute I put the trolling motor up on the last day of practice, I want to be at 100%. I want to be ready for the event to start, and I'm not a dusk to dawn, or daylight to dark, because you could spend 14, 15 hours out there, and next thing you know, you're just start. So for me, I pace myself, especially when we have a back-to-backer, and just power through the both events.
Watching Hank Cherry live, and you don't even want to look at a fish like that. I mean, obviously, a fish like that is not going to help him in the situation he's in right now. 63 pounds and 6 ounces. He's your unofficial leader. But KVD has, yesterday afternoon, critical bites. I mean, as this day moves on, it's really easy to look at this tournament and be like, it's after day one. Kevin had a 5-pound lead, and people started to say, well, if he's got a 5-pound lead on day one, look out. Yeah. But as you said, that one key critical bite, and literally, we kind of always talk about right down to the last minute, but here it's even more so because you're on a body of water that really will all be shocked if we don't see a double-digit fish this week. So that big bite, really, this is anyone's game. As you said, you look at that top 5 and even outside of that top 5.
Absolutely. That's just, look, Kevin moved, 8 ounces out, 7 ounces out. That ain't nothing. This is going to be a shootout. It's going to be fun to watch all this stuff. And like I said, they're 1 7 or 8 pounder away from just leapfrogging everybody. Steven's still down there, and Ish both. I can't even call a winner. I just seeing this now, I don't. The whole top 12 guys could win. It could be a blowout. It can happen.
Well, that's what we love to see. Top 12 going out there, and anyone can win it. But Mark Zona and Tommy Sanders back in Little Rock. We're missing you guys.
Hey, real quick. Am I okay to clarify something for all of our viewers that we got lit up like a Christmas tree about Dean Rojas a few years ago?
Yeah.
Can we get clear the air?
Yeah.
A couple years ago, Dean Rojas, I think you know about this. Such, this is something for the Daily Limit. You ready? We did a Bassmaster Elite Series television show, and we called Dean Rojas the best frog fisherman in the world. Long story short, we went to the next tournament. We were walking through a parking lot. I kind of strayed away. Tommy and I are married, and I strayed away from my spouse. And Ish Monroe pulled me aside. He said, hey, I need to talk to you real quick. You guys made a comment that Dean Rojas was the best frog fisherman on the planet. He goes, just FYI, I am. Just to be clear. And he was not joking. Hey, Dean, what do you say to that? Yeah. Clarify this.
Well, he can say whatever he wants, but I think everybody knows who's number 1.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If you're number 1, who are you putting at 2 or 3?
I'll give Ish the benefit of the doubt and give him second. Bobby Boucher, Cliff Crochet, I think is a close probably third. But there's some secret guys out here that actually don't talk about the frog much, and that probably hammers, guys who catch them pretty good on tour.
All right. Wait, you actually didn't solve anything. You just stirred things up. You didn't clear the air at all. You just stirred it up.
That was his point.
Mark's own specialty.
That is a loaded question.
Sorry.
Oh, you think so,
Sorry.
Dean? I think so.
Yeah,
Great
very
job,
loaded.
Dean. Fantastic. Thank you, Dave.
Give him one back.
We're going to lay out for Ish Monroe here quickly.
Hey, Zona.
They ask me this question every single time, and they know the answer to that, so I'm not even going to answer. That's my answer. Dean.
Because he knows. That's why.
Okay. See, Ish not taking the bait. Not taking the bait. Locked up conveniently.
Exactly. Exactly
out.
right.
Cop out.
And I'm not going to lie, Tommy. You and I have dumped gasoline on that fire a few times.
And we'll continue to. I'm
That's
sure.
actually right.
No question about that. Dave, Dean, great
Beautiful.
job. Thank you so much, Dean.
Love Dean Rojas.
Multiple winner
Love him.
at Toledo
My
Bend and breaking it down in a very meaningful way for us back in the studio here. Toyota Bassmaster Studios with the great Mark Menendez here to help us break it down. And we got a whole lot more coming. Hope you can stick around a while.
I'll hang as long as you need me.
Absolutely. Well, we got a lot to talk about, and I think a lot more to see because we've seen a 10-pound swing in the fortunes of the leader to start this day down and up again. So obviously things are popping up.
Tommy, if you don't mind me saying, I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say you are the best frog fisherman on the planet.
I really am. I didn't even make Dean's list. I didn't get honorable mention, so that's no surprise. Take a quick look at the leaderboard. This is unofficial. This is Bass Track information here. Jerry and Kevin VanDam in a virtual tie. Chris Slane, Ish Monroe, all of them doing something different.
One thing we saw with Rick Plunn yesterday, you are not guaranteed a limit on this lake. Kevin VanDam better get things going.
Absolutely. He had a great moment, but he's got to keep it going. Exactly right. We'll be back.
You're watching the ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend. Brought to you live by Toyota.
Days, it's funny. I wake up in the morning and nothing else matters except where and when my first bite of the day is going to come. And we have so much going on in a tournament, getting gear ready, in and out of the truck and the boat, prep and tackle, all that kind of stuff. And probably one of the most favorite pieces of gear or equipment that I've got is my ARE Z Series cap, ARE's premier model, and it's easy to see why.
He's fished here for decades. He knows every hump, every drop-off, every contour. He's dedicated his entire life to understanding this single body of water, and he didn't know squat about it until 2 hours ago. AutoChart Live lets you build your own high-definition maps anywhere in the world in real time. Only from Humminbird.
30, 29, 28, tick, tock. 25 years old, and you're still playing in the mud. 15 feet in the air, that's where you feel most alive. 10 meter maids waiting to wallpaper your truck. Better get out of town. 5, 4, 3. The all-new Tacoma. Toyota, let's go places.
The competition is fierce, and the prizes are huge. The only thing missing is you. Fantasy Fishing presented by Toyota. Sign up for free and face fans from across the nation. Grand prize winner receives a Triton Yamaha package, including a Triton 189 TRX. MSRP of $37,293. The classic and each individual elite event winner will receive $2,500 Bass Pro Shops gift cards, with the runner-up receiving a GoPro Hero 4 black camera. Sign up and pick your team today at Bassmasterfantasy.com.
right there.
Think you could win valuable prizes from Bassmaster? You can't know unless you enter, and entering is easy. Go to Bassmaster.com.
Enter now for a chance to win a fishing trip with 2014 Geico Bassmaster Classic champion Randy Howell. Trip includes airfare, hotel, rental car, and $500 cash, plus a Triton 17 TX bass boat with Mercury engine, and Randy's gear from Lowrance, Daiwa, Bass Pro Shops, and much more.
You, the winner of a valuable prize? Could be. All you have to do to get your shot is go to Bassmaster.com and enter today and every day. Hey, it could be you.
You're watching the ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend, brought to you live by Toyota.
Oh, it was a fantastic day. You know, Toledo Bend is in such fantastic shape right now, and it's fun. It's really fun to go out there and catch these fish the way that they're biting. It started out real slow this morning, I'll be honest with you. You know, had to go to the completely other side of the lake and just fish the exact same stuff. And after I caught a 4-pounder by a cypress tree, and then I went off this point, and I'm, you know, talking through the live actually, and then just moose just engulfed it, you know, and it was like, man, all day long I can do this. And, you know, you do go through spells where you don't get any bites, but when you get one, it's a good one.
Chris Lane summing it up, the special aspect of this incredible place. Toledo Bend Reservoir. Chris Lane hanging in there, doing very well, started this day and held his ground so far. Kevin VanDam, Hank Cherry, a 10-pound swing both up and down for Kevin VanDam. Mark Zimmer, Tommy Sanders in the studio with our special guest, Mark Menendez. And Mark, we look at the three guys at the top, each of them, and we love this. When we have 5 guys on camera and each of them's doing something different, that makes us happy. It makes our viewers happy. And each one of them doing something different. Each one of them apparently committed to it. They're not going to flake out and do something else, or except for maybe just a little bit of stuff at the start of the day. Among what you know these three guys are doing, who's got the riskiest bet? Who's making the biggest risk?
You know, I'm saying Kevin is, just because Toledo's so big and it's so wind affected. If we get some wind, it can blow him off there. Does he have a backup plan? I'm sure he does. But the thing about the backup plan and the shallow water deal, they're getting 1 to 2 shots at these giants a day. So you better make the most of that particular cast when you get that giant on there. So, but I think what Kevin's doing, he's a risk and reward kind of guy. So he's at the most risk if the wind. And the weathermen, Zona, have they've been
especially on that lake. Especially on that lake.
I think that's my new career when I go down
real
there.
quick, for all the years that you fish there, usually that's a brutal lake to get around just because of the boat lanes and stuff like that. That was not the case as high as the water. I mean, could you run anywhere this time?
I ran more time out of the buoys than I did in the buoys, and I never touched my lower unit on my yellow outboard. I was scared to death half the time.
But still, it makes it a lot easier.
You know, I'm trying to look a little bit like Tommy Biffle, and I acted like him running on there.
You've got a Sean Connery thing going. It's kind of like a Paris, Tennessee Sean Connery, if you don't mind me saying.
Some things.
What kind of a statement is that? What kind of a Paris, Tennessee?
Hey, I do want to leave this tournament for a second. I have to address this with you, just because it's probably gone on with every single one of our viewers. If you fish boat docks, I'm a little scalawag from Michigan that grew up fishing boat docks, and you run into what I call that guy every now and then.
Here we go.
Where are we going with that guy? Now, I will tell you something. As we watch Ish Monroe live, I would like to commend you on running into that guy and taking it a step further.
Well, it was an unfortunate situation, and that guy this time was just a very unhappy person. He didn't have to do what he did. We were minding our business. We were having a great day, and he was basically protecting a fish. You're going to love this. Was protecting a fish that his grandchildren caught the week before. He tells me that, you know, don't fish here. There's a giant fish here. I say, I can't get any information. Thank you. And he says, I really don't give a bleep, bleep, bleep about information. You're not fishing here. Then he started making some comments about my name and my ethnicity and things like that. That's when I said, you know, that's enough. I mean, you may be miserable, but you don't do this to other people. This is free water. We're respecting everybody's property up and down through here. So, long story short, the game warden that took my statement was laughing as I'm telling my side of the story. He says, I believe you because everything you're telling me is what he said. But what about this big fish? Well, Zona, I caught the big fish of the tournament that week. about 100 yards down.
No.
And the reason I know, he told the game warden that the dog had bit the fish and it had a scar on its back.
No.
Yes, sir. It was in my live well when the man jumped on me.
I've never heard that part of the story.
Now there you go. True crime novel right there.
But fast forwarding, you won the trial.
The man went to trial and was arraigned. It is a crime in New York, harassing an angler on the water.
Angler or a hunter.
Or a hunter. There are more hunter harassment laws in the United States than fishing harassment laws. And he pled guilty to it. Now, I don't know whether he had lawyered up earlier and gotten some information, but I had my P's and Q's in line. The unique thing, Mark, is that a group of sportsmen from Union City, Tennessee had called me and said, if you have to go to New York to fight this trial, are you going? I said, absolutely, I'm going. He says, well, we will fund your travel if you have to go.
That's awesome.
So I had supporters on this whole thing. And everyone needs to look at those laws in their home state, be aware of those laws if your state has them. It's almost like a right to privacy kind of thing, but we're just fishing. We're having fun. We're not out to terrorize your dock. We don't want to throw a bait in somebody's boat and tear their upholstery. We're here to have fun and fish, and we have that right to do so, and everybody should be aware of what's...
Glad you carried it through.
Well,
seriously.
You've gotten a lot of publicity.
I texted you right when it happened.
Absolutely did.
You think it's gotten out there pretty good? A good job of getting that out there. You think it's something that might change 10, 20 people's minds? It would be worth it if it did, right?
It would. It's about education, Tommy. Everybody has to be educated about it, and it's kind of our responsibility on the Elite Series to be good stewards. We teach about how to catch more fish. We teach about the environment, and this is a new play. This is not the first time I've been accosted during a tournament.
I'm sure.
Well, I had a guy hold a gun on me in the James River several years ago.
Come on.
About 80 years old. He says, "You've been on my dock."
Oh my God.
He's got a 357 iron haul.
And you shake. I noticed you're shaking.
I never missed a pitch. I talked to the guy for 15 minutes. I look at my partner. He's behind the power head of the outboard, and I finally talked the guy down. Moral of that story is I came back the next day, caught the biggest sack of the tournament off that dock.
Oh my God.
Holding a gun to you.
No, he didn't show up after fishing game came by and saw him. They asked if I wanted to press formal charges, being attempted murder, and I said no. The young old man's going to hurt somebody. Go talk to him. Slow it down.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But
bad day. Having a bad day.
I guess I'm a magnet, Tommy. I don't know.
Just landed on a couple of bad days. I think that we all need to watch out for the bad days. Probably. That's a fascinating story, and the story behind the story there is fantastic. Ish Monroe here. 24 pounds yesterday. Huge day yesterday on Toledo Bend. Keeping it together. In the top 4, we have him on Bass Track.
I'm going to reach out and say something here, guys.
Oh, go ahead.
We've got an angler that's just under the top 5. Watch that old scruffy guy named Biffle. He had a bag of fish. He did not have a big fish in it yesterday. Okay. He had 21 and change, and they were all 4.5 to 4 3/4. If he finds a big one and he casts clones, he's going to march today, be within reach tomorrow. All
right. And does kind of seem, even though we've seen some big shots, we've seen big shots today, but a little bit of our leaders leaving the door open as of right now.
Yeah. No one's knocked out 25 pounds yet.
With that being said, the fireworks really yesterday and the day before, the fireworks seem to start at about 11 o'clock and go till these guys got to come in.
There's a lull there. Every morning it's bang, 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 bang till about 9-ish. And then if you catch one between 11 to 11:30, well, Merry Christmas, that's a gift. Then it picks up again. So there's been a lull every day.
You're talking about the south wind that prevented you and many others from going out and doing what Kevin's doing today, or at least scoping out things. What is the wind threshold there? I mean, what is that? 10 miles an hour is going to be bumping up against it?
If it's a steady 10, if it's just a blow and then it relaxes and then it blows, but it just keeps creeping.
Steady enough to pile
10,
things up. Yeah.
12, 15, that's how it blows there.
All right, I'm going to throw something that we actually kind of tipped on yesterday. If you really looked at when the schedule was released last year, if you kind of go off of old Bass Champs tournaments, Texas tournament trail events, a lot of people thought this was going to be a Phil Marks style tournament who dominates, or a Todd Castledine style tournament who dominate deep water hydrilla flipping. I'm talking 15 to 25 feet of water. Talk about the lack of that deep grass and how it changed what a lot of people thought was going to be the major player in this.
Well, when you say that, I instantly think of former Bassmaster Pro Tim Renaud.
Absolutely.
He's the one that
He's
taught
the
these guys.
That's right.
He's the guru of that. And, you know, it's the lack of grass. It's the lack of that grass that groups those fish up. And those guys are looking for such specific little things. And when they find them, it's like, get ready, your cricket's getting ready to get bit.
And get bit a lot.
And it's instantaneous.
We're looking back at a 2011 tournament here. We just had Dean Rojas on as a guest. It is hard with the way this lake fluctuates as we go through the years. It is really hard to come here to this lake in particular compared to other places we go with a preconceived notion of how you're going to catch them.
That's the kiss of death. And that's what makes these Texas, Louisiana guys, these East Texas guys so strong. They don't rely on waypoints. They don't rely on past fishing, Tommy. They have to go every weekend and figure it out from the start. So they become very quick at finding fish.
The changes through the years are just remarkable. We think of those pictures we saw from 2011. Those places where Hank Cherry and Ish Monroe are fishing, you'd be walking on those spots right now.
Back there you would.
Yeah.
Where Randall's catching this fish in 14, there's not a blade of grass in that entire creek.
Right across from the
There's
from the
not a
line.
blade of grass in there.
No.
So that's only 2 years, and look how much has changed.
Looking at that 2014 tournament, okay, there's not, a lot of that hydrilla got ripped out. One of the things that Tharp was concentrating on in that event, looking at Chad Morgan-Taylor right here, he was one of the very few anglers that was concentrating on milfoil. Was there any milfoil anywhere?
I found a little in the back of housing, but milfoil was very hard to find. You could find some drill, but you'd find more coontail. Now, coontail is a natural occurring grass in the lake, but the exotics, the milfoil and the hydrilla, it's limited right now. It's limited. So when it does get back out there and show up, you find a small patch of it,
Look
you're
out
gonna
now.
have a gold mine.
Well, here's 2012, and again, a different story altogether. Brent Chapman and Cliff Pace out there.
Well, in that
Pretty deep,
particular
pretty slow.
tournament, those fish were primarily deep. But where you could find some relief was in the middle, in the bottoms of the drain, as if you were fishing bull shoals in the wintertime. There were good groups of fishing 20 to 30 out there in the bottom of the drain, not on a point or a corner. So you could find some good ones like they did.
What of your percentage, just a ballpark best guess, of the percentage of anglers, because in the photo galleries, we got to see a lot of anglers that were fishing offshore on day one. How many do you think survived?
I'd say
to today,
20%. I'd say 10 guys are basically probably fishing offshore. The rest of the guys are fishing shallow. And that's the preconceived notion from the last time we were here. Most of the checks were caught offshore. Those 12 to 15 pound sacks came from offshore, and everybody stuck that out and kind of overlooked that.
The savior being the high water.
Yes.
Back out to Hank Cherry live.
And gang, like we said, just to really hammer this home, when we have an angler that has good cell coverage, we are absolutely going to get out to him. Bassmaster
alive.
Thanks.
Yeah, we want to show you VanDam. We want to show you Chris Lane.
And by watching Hank, he was in bushes a minute ago. Now he's targeting boat docks. So obviously he's in an area, and so that gives him a lot of hope that he can figure something else out today, catching the big one.
All right, and this is what I want to talk about that we kind of kept under the wraps. Hank Cherry said he had some. All right, get ready, gang. He had some 6 to 8 pound fish on not only creek docks but main lake docks. He said, "Look, I know nobody else is going to fish those main lake docks because they're the most ignored thing on this lake." But he said he had some fish follow his jig in throughout practice that would terrify you.
Mark, that doesn't surprise me. Go through the standings right now and look at the Lake Norman Mafia.
Great point.
They're all in there.
Doc,
Andy Montgomery. You've got Shane Lineberger, but who happens to be Hank's roommate. You've got Hank. And they're all dealing with docks. And that's what these guys do. They're experts at getting that bait in places. I couldn't even walk over there and drop it in and put it in there.
Well, I'd like to see this happen.
He's been threatening all morning to go over to that dock. He was pointing in that direction. I get a couple out of there. He says, I sound confident, but I'm not sure I can. But he thought it had great potential.
And what's unique about the docks, when you get on a typical dock pattern, aka a Denny Brower fishing, he finds a series of docks where it's a depth zone. And what's unique about these docks, all these shallow docks, they've been dredged. So you've got bushes on either side of them that may be in 2 feet of water, but the dock's in 11 or 12 right now. So there's probably deep water around most all these docks where it looks like it's shallow. So this is different dock fishing than what we have come to know in past events. So that's kind of a unique little feature there, and you can see Hank's not fishing the bottom. He's swimming a jig. There's been shad spawning. Those fish are higher in the water column, so he's fishing faster than you normally would by a traditional get it to the bottom and fish the pilings. And Mark, you can see all the cross members. You can't hardly drag a bait through there.
Right.
It will gather every jig and every tungsten weight you've got, and you're stuck. So I see why he's doing so much swimming with that jig, keeping it high.
That's what we're doing it. Waiting for the little one. Problem is, around here, you just don't know which one gonna be the lucky one.
Now, is someone going to come out and threaten those two guys? You're the
Mike.
expert.
Mike.
I'm not going to mess with Hank Cherry, just FYI.
No.
Just
Yeah,
don't.
he looks like he might hit you back.
I gave him, remember I said one of the most intimidating figures in Bassmaster history of us covering this together? Biffle used to scare the fire out of me, okay, friends?
Yep.
I'm going to tell you, Hank Cherry kind of, and I'm friends with Hank, but I've hung with him at ICAST. I've hung with his whole family, and he just has, let me put it this way, if it's going to go down, I want him on my team.
All right.
Jack.
Word to the wise.
Thanks.
My trolling battery is good. My trolling battery is good. I think it's just the day. Weird crap going on.
You think that was weird?
I hope we're 18. Oh yeah. Once I get out on the main run and get to working my ones on the way back, that's when the damage is going to come. But I mean, you never know when you might slip up and catch a big one.
You know, what's one thing that was interesting that you said, talk about boat docking and stuff like that, Denny Brower. Did Denny Brower not win, like, what was it, an Everstart or a Railvac here,
Yes,
doing
sir.
exactly this? Correct me if I'm wrong.
The water temperature was a little cooler, it was a little further in front of the spawn, but yes. And
Right.
the water level was considerably lower. Yeah, and just a couple of years ago. we did
Yes.
that. We're getting closer to that 11 o'clock bewitching hour.
Mm-hmm. What's amazing is covering a tournament like this, like what, you know, watching Chris Lane yesterday, VanDam out what he's doing now with Hank Cherry. You just know within any one of these casts, there's going to be just a complete implosion.
Mm-hmm. And look how relaxed he is, Mark. He knows it's coming. He's got a big one in the tank already.
Okay,
but he knows it.
Yeah, and here's one thing that about a tournament like this. You have as a tournament fisherman, you have an internal clock in your head, okay, that you know what you need to be, know what you need in the live well, and obviously a benefit of Hank Cherry catching a giant this morning and VanDam catching one, that puts that to ease, where you're able to fish like he is right now, looking at his morning earlier. I want you to talk about your first 2 days in this tournament when you know you're taking body blows, man.
Well, for me, the first day at about 1 o'clock, I had a 4-pounder and a limit that weighed about 8. The rest of them were cute. They were really nice bass. They were going to grow up and be a giant.
They're cute.
And I'm thinking, wow, I know that I am just, my nose is bleeding, my ears hurt.
Right.
I've been boxed all morning. And then in 15 minutes, I saved the day. I had almost 14 pounds.
Right.
So you catch a break. You get in front of it by catching a big one, Mark. You slow down. You're more relaxed. You put that bait exactly where it needs to be, and you already know that now I can take a risk. I've got a solid. He's got 19 in the box right now. He may not have fished that dock yesterday.
It seems like on a lake like this, or a Gunnersville, or a Clear Lake, that it almost gets amplified when you get around. A lot of lakes, you're able to save your day. A lot of places like this, you can also catch one at 1 o'clock, and you're like, there's no way I can still salvage this day now.
Mm-hmm. I remember the first time we went to Falcon, Mark, I caught a 9.6, and it gave me 24.11 for the day. And I was the last guy in the money.
Oh. Say that again.
9.6 with 15 minutes to go. I had 24.11, and I was 50th on the first.
That was one of those tournaments that we talked about, our rookies coming in.
Yeah.
When they think they've done something.
Giddy
I'm
up.
onto it now.
They come in and every tooth gets punched down their throat.
Yeah, it's soul destroying, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a break. We're getting kind of destroyed by some unfavorable camera conditions right now, but we'll be back We'll have some Kevin VanDam for you. Hopefully, fingers crossed, and Chris Lane, Ish Monroe, all hanging in there as best they can. We still got a great tournament going on, and another day of it after today. We're getting down to 12
Tommy
anglers
Biffle
today.
up in there, friends.
Yeah, Tommy Biffle, who Mark Menendez gave us the approval to watch, and we will keep our eyes on Tommy Biffle. We'll keep our eyes on everybody today. A lot more to come on Bassmaster Live.
The Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Elite on Wheeler Lake is brought to you by Lowrance, Toyota, Berkeley, Triton Boats, and by GoPro.
Your choice of fishing apparel can make or break your day out on the water. Added mesh vents for superior breathability. Moisture transport cooling technology to keep you dry and comfortable. And antimicrobial to keep you from smelling like your catch. With added SPF to keep you protected. We've added stain release to keep the blood or any other stains at bay. Our most technologically advanced fishing shirt for all the necessary dirty work.
30, 29, 28, tick, tock. 25 years old, and you're still laying in the mud. 15 feet in the air, that's where you feel most alive. 10 meter maze, waiting to wallpaper your truck. Better get out of town. 5, 4, 3. The all-new Tacoma. Toyota, let's go places.
The ultimate predator has evolved again. Now, Yamaha B.A.S.S SHO Performance is prowling the waters in 4 hungry, exciting new models. With their 4 valves per cylinder and double overhead cam fuel-injected design, these advanced 4-stroke predators are taking performance to a whole new level. Vicious, lean, efficient. B.A.S.S SHO. The pack is growing.
We were born to innovate, to find a better way. New Berkeley hard baits. New designs. Trigger-loaded actions. Mind-blowing colors. Because everyone wants to catch more fish.
If you love bass fishing, then show your support by joining B.A.S.S today. Since 1968, B.A.S.S has been serving bass fishing enthusiasts with information and tournament coverage that make you a better angler. When you sign up today, you'll join over 500,000 outdoorsmen who love bass fishing. With your membership, you'll receive every issue of Bassmaster magazine, plus $50 in free gear, including a membership tackle bag, B.A.S.S cap, plus more. Call us or log on to Bassmaster.com to join Bass now.
29 pounds, 3 ounces!
Edwin Evers here, 2016 Bassmaster Classic champion. In celebration of Lowrance winning the last 5 Bassmaster Classics, we're going to extend the Ultimate Upgrade promo. If you buy an HDS Gen 3 with Structure Scan 3D, we're going to mail you a $300 rebate. 5 Bassmaster Classic champions in a row. That doesn't happen by chance. That happens because these units are the best.
Think you could win valuable prizes from Bassmaster? You can't know unless you enter, and entering is easy. Go to Bassmaster.com. Enter now for a chance to win a fishing trip with 2014 Geico Bassmaster Classic champion Randy Howell. Trip includes airfare, hotel, rental car, and $500 cash, plus a Triton 17 TX bass boat with Mercury engine, and Randy's gear from Lowrance, Daiwa, Bass Pro Shops, and much more. You, the winner of a valuable prize? Could be. All you have to do to get your shot is go to Bassmaster.com and enter today and every day. Hey, it could be you.
You're watching the ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend. Brought to you live by Toyota.
Bassmaster Live, yes sir, we are back. Got another 2.5 hours for you here. Hank, Jerry, The guy with the lead, that's him right there, unofficially, according to Bass Tracker. Big fish back and forth between him and Kevin VanDam. Going to extend his lead a little bit. Well, yeah. He'll be able to upgrade with that a little bit.
It is bigger than the one we
Very close, neck and neck, those two. Five fish in the boat for Cherry. Kevin VanDam still 2 fish in the boat, but one's a huge bass.
Not making big calls, Hank Cherry right here. Going to check if this one will help him. Looks like it will.
Cherry is back this season. He talked about it a little bit earlier. We followed him along, fishing his very special area there. Attributes it to a lot of things, but the results are hard to argue with. Hank Cherry certainly better than he's done in the last couple of years. This season, 2016, of course, one of the things we track all season long, Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, the measure of your consistency throughout these 9 events, I guess we call it now. We'll be measuring here, and let's take a look at those. Hank Cherry, look at him right there. 3rd place. Behind Gerald Swindle and Greg Hackney, the guy who's been hanging in.
And Mark Menendez, we always talk about, every year there are certain schedules that set up pretty favorable for certain anglers. If you really look at this gentleman right here, who you know very well, we made a comment earlier in the year, if he was able to script his own potential schedule, it would have been very similar potentially to the schedule we have this year.
It most certainly would, and what Greg's looking forward to is he's not going to have 6XD out the rest of the year.
No,
he's going
to doesn't want to.
He's going to have his signature jig in his hand, and he's going to be doing what he loves to do most, and that's fish shallow. This is the last tournament of the year, Mark, that we're going to have the opportunity to fish offshore, ledge style of fishing.
You do not think that at Bass Fest at Lake Texoma?
No.
Do not?
I don't think so.
Won't be happening there.
And watch Gerald. Gerald fishes what's in front of him. He's a junk fisherman by trade. He's been a great check maker. He could have his second angler.
Let me ask you a question about Swindle real fast. Going to look at Hank Cherry here in 3rd place, which this would be an enormous title for a guy like Hank Cherry. But looking at Swindle, why, since he won Angler of the Year a few years ago, several years ago, I'm sorry, why have we not seen him in this position that these guys are in?
I don't think we've had as many shallow water events, Mark. We've fished offshore so many times. And I think that's the big deal for Gerald. He's competent outside. Don't say that. But he's good when he's got 10 rods on his deck.
Looking at a guy like Ish Monroe, sitting down in 18th place from there. Kevin VanDam down in 29th place. If you really look at what's gone on, look at that Bull Shoals tournament Kevin VanDam had right there. Coming into this event, he was actually, correct me if I'm wrong, out of the Classic.
Did it here.
If you look at that group of anglers that Tommy went through, and some of the anglers that we're seeing here that are at least in the mix, this has been a junk fisherman's dream year.
It has. I got up yesterday morning and was talking to Greg Vincent, and I said, Greg, when's the last time we had 2 rods on a boat? I said, I can remember mine. That was at Lake Dardanelle, and I won. We haven't had that kind of tournament where a pattern stuck for the whole week.
20 rods a tournament.
20 to 25.
We look at, say, the guys in the top 20 in Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Years with a 94, with an 80-something. Those big, they say the things you have to avoid, those things are getting a little more spread out here. Everybody's getting a little taste of that this year.
Drop a bomb and it can kill you. It can absolutely kill you. And that's what keeps you in the Classic, is if you don't make the money, you have a 60th place finish, not a 95th place finish. And if you looked at Kevin and Chris Lane, they both have had lower finishes all year long, and this one good one has jumped them right back up into the stands.
Mark, have you said hi to the Such this morning?
I did say hello to Michael over there.
Michael, I might call you Michael the rest of the year. Michael. That is very Hannibal.
Never like that.
That's very Hannibal. That's very creepy.
That.
Very Hannibal Lecter. I like that, Mark.
You can go creepy when you want to.
Hello, Michael.
That's it.
Hey, turn the lights off on him, too. That's making it even more scary.
Hello, Such.
I got to put my hoodie on, and then we'll be really weird.
Hannibal Lecter.
They're definitely not even moving water.
you know, after spending the week down there, it just kills me to see that lake as flat as this tabletop.
It was rough, wasn't it?
It's
Dude,
always rough.
It is
in
too.
East Texas when
It
the wind
really
blows.
is. Was practice kind of a wash for everybody a little bit?
I think it really was. For a lot of people, it was. And for me especially, I spent all my time outside trying to fish outside, and I couldn't get out there. You just couldn't physically stay out there. So you kind of had to scrap and go and just learn as you went. And a lot of times your better tournaments, Tommy, the ones that carry you the farthest, are the days that the first day of the tournament, your fourth day of practice.
Yeah.
Sometimes those can be beneficial.
Going in with nothing.
Get with the weight.
With nothing. Coming out with something.
It's all right. Well, except for the ball in the morning. Man. We just need to make sure we got enough to fish tomorrow. Oh yeah, it's good either way, man. This don't determine whether my life's good. And once I would have told you it did. Come on, big. I know you're gonna bite. I know you are, because I'm gonna do it for the rest of the day, buddy. You got no choice. I'm not gonna give you nothing else. I'm just gonna give you this. I might mix in a little green one, but we'll just have to see about that.
Double box, Kevin VanDam, Hank Cherry, Bassmaster.
Alive.
Thanks, dude.
I can't do it with all these people around here like this. You gotta run some new meat.
So Kevin VanDam, I'm gonna make a move.
Spot over here, looks like there's a boat on it, but I'm gonna try it. It's here when I start sucking because the boats dwindle. And then we catch one and they come back.
I think the gremlins are starting to move around there, Kevin said.
Dude,
kind of itchy, wasn't he?
When you got two that weigh 13.5 pounds, you kind of start to do math in your head, man, just give me 3 2-pounders right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Got to refigure the thing.
Tommy, I did say that I was going to call out this Such today on his, I don't shake your head, friend.
What?
Such did a photo
The best
gallery.
and the worst?
It's called, what was it?
I don't know.
Such, tell us about, first of all.
Good and the bad.
Good and the bad.
Wait. I don't know that our friend in studio, Mark Menendez, knows the whole story, but go ahead, Such.
Saw some photos coming in from our marshals that, there were some thumbs in them and some out of focus, and some guys were trying to be J.O. with fish swings, which some of them were awesome. I mean, the marshals are awesome. They do a great job putting in our bass track weights and sending photos, but there were some poorer selections that got through.
Oh, you used other
and
words.
I kind of used several of them to illustrate what not to do. I added a bunch of really nice ones though that they've taken of this is what we're looking for. These are great. But I kind of got hammered a little bit on the
a little bit?
A little bit.
Did someone invite you to go out on the water yourself and see if you could do any better?
Hey, I've done it. I've got some nice shots with. I got a guy breaking his pole and hand reeling a fish in with my little iPhone camera once.
Such, a couple things that I can throw at you. You are truly one of my closest friends that I work with. I'm gonna throw you a couple things. This was what were you thinking when you decided to do this? That's number one.
Wow.
But number two is I know you, and I mean this. I'm getting your back on this. I know you meant fun by it.
Fun. A lot of people got that. They say, "Come on, people, lighten up." Well, there were some negative comments. Well, as a previous marshal, I don't think I'll ever take a picture again. You guys are, cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Right. A lot of the haters that were hammering you, they were more than likely Chris Mitchell, I think. No, it's a joke, Mitchell. That's a joke.
No, no, no.
He's sorry. Hi, Chris. Sorry.
He liked it.
Yeah. Better you doing that article than me and Sanders.
Yeah, no kidding. We got our own problems.
Right. Yeah. We just make fun of our bosses all day.
Oh my God. Speaking of problems, we watched Kevin VanDam, and you know, we're sort of wondering how much this whole cumulative crowd effect around there is starting to affect him. And Art, we had a discussion yesterday about that's his handicap. He has to drag that around everywhere he goes. It's the bad with the good and everything. But just watching him out there today, anytime he makes a move, he got enough distractions out there. He has to watch the place he just came from just to see if it's becoming depopulated at all or who's starting to fish there. I mean, that's, you know, there's, at a certain point distractions pile up, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. It just pains me to sit here and watch it, to see it happen. I've sat and watched other anglers fish when I was a kid, when they'd have big tournaments on my lake, and give them plenty of room and turn your depth finders off. And you know, every time I'm out there, you always have a few guys, and they're always 99.9% of them are really
cool.
Absolutely. They really love what we're doing, and they want to learn, they want to watch, and they want to protect what we're doing as well. So.
Yeah, it's some one percenters.
As we're sitting here watching Hank Cherry basketball. Oh, hey now!
Hey,
what's going on over here? Chris Lane, finally, good picture of Chris Lane. You've seen it for decades now. Talk about.
Oh my gosh!
And then into one.
Oh my! Don't you do it!
Wow.
Stand by, folks. This is a big one. No. Oh, she ain't done. Stand by, stand by. Yeah! Woo! Pow! Look at that! That's some live for you. Woo! Golly. That's a Toledo Bend beauty right there. A couple more of these. Hey, it's time right now, you know, late in the day is when I've been getting these big bites. Look how healthy and beautiful that is. That's why I throw that thing all day. Oh my. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
That's not good.
Not good.
Is she breathing? That's not good. God, they've been doing good all day. See her breathe? Look, right here. See her? Watch. See it? She's breathing. See her?
Throw a fish that's not exhibiting.
She was breathing right there. I did see that.
Did see that?
I saw it.
He's within the rules right there.
And I'll try to help her out if she's biting my finger. Close that before that big one jumps out. Come on. Yeah, look at her swelling those. Come on. Man, she ain't gonna do good, but there ain't nothing we can do about it. But she's still alive. I'm trying to help her best we could. Whew. Man.
Wow. Well played, Chris Lane.
I don't know what to say. I don't know. That was just unbelievable. Eat. Just engulf that thing. Yeah, man, I am shaking to beat the band.
Dude, that's right where we caught it yesterday.
Hey, what were you guys wanting? No, what was it they wanted?
You are right.
Well, I know they wanted a bunch, but how about just one right now? Jeez Louise.
Right where he caught it. Opposite angle.
Everything's good.
Yeah, it's looking the other way.
Angle.
Yeah.
And they probably caught that fish just in time, too, you know. If it was another 30 minutes, that other fish wouldn't have made it. He's gone. I can't do it. We just got over here too. I mean, I've made probably 15 casts down this line. We're just kind of working our way to trying to catch those. I'm just, hold on a minute. Having a little come apart here. Plus I'm 41, need glasses now. But hey. Oh my gosh.
Message for your boys watching back home?
Hey Cal, Hunter, Hannah, Coleman, baby, 18-pound bass, Rich, the old whopper popper.
He gained 6 pounds right there. You fair?
I'll say 5 anyway.
Right.
Not a bad call.
Right. A conservative 5.
Conservative. Gonna shake that leaderboard up.
What kind of weight you got on that one for bass track?
Oh man, I don't know what, 6.5, 7 pounds, huh?
Say it again, David.
You can see how much these guys love fishing. He's torn up.
Ate up.
He couldn't even give you his phone number right now. Isn't that great?
Ate
He's
up.
breathing hard. That's why we do it,
All right,
Mark.
let's get another one.
That moment.
Mark, if you can explain the rule real quick, just for a few people, if they're just joining, they don't understand that as far as culling a dead fish.
We cannot cull a dead fish. If the fish is dead, it has to stay in your live well, regardless if it's a 1.25 pounds to a 7 pounder, it's got to stay there.
Cannot cull.
It cannot be culled. But what Chris did was got verification that the fish was still moving its gills, it was still trying to breathe. That, by our rules, is a live fish. He did the right thing. He helped that fish out, and he said just a moment ago the fish has already swam off. So,
I had to take a breath
good for
after
him.
that.
But that's the legal way
Here
to do it.
again, same thing. You know, we've been focusing on these main leg points with grass or cypress trees, and you know, fish was healthy as healthy could be. So, I guess the bottom line is to catch some more like that. I think two more like that have us. We'd be right where we need to be. Shit, about lost my rod. Hang on, folks. I'm a little tired from throwing this thing.
A little jacked up too, I think.
I threw the rod right out of my. I caught him in midair. That's all right. A little excited.
Maybe get some slow-mo on that real quick with the commentary.
Get back to work.
Take a look at that catch one more time. Mark Menendez, every single day.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh. When the sun gets up, walk us through when the sun gets up that these fish, I read a great little piece from Alan McGuckin with Mike Iaconelli. A lot of these fish turned into bluegill hunters on this lake.
Absolutely, and right now there are just scads and scads of bluegill. Some of them have started spawning. It's kind of early in that bluegill spawn, but there's scads of them marked 3 to 5 inches long. Little bitty guys up there shallow. You can get in those
appetizers.
pockets. Oh yeah, just little chicken nuggets. And those big fish are tired. They're needing a big meal, and a big bluegill is a quick way to get caught up.
Even fishing what I'm fishing, but you know, I just had to fish that real slow. You know, tried to run some new water and wasn't working out. But bite this thing starts from now, you know, until weigh-in. So I just got to make sure I put myself in the right
locking up right there with Chris Lane. Something we talked about before you got here, Mark, was these guys that are masters of topwater baits, that when it's a tournament like this where they'll commit to a topwater. I made the statement to Sanders and to Such was the reason why they're so good at topwater baits is they don't put it down.
They just go with it. I mean, it's almost like swim bait fishing, except with a topwater bait, bass like to feed up. And whatever reason, big fish eat topwater baits. Now, it's a high risk and reward deal. It's a high risk. You got a lot of treble hooks and a big fish. That's not good sometimes. But, man, when one crushes it like that, fish that Chris just caught, it gives you a lot of confidence to keep going. And they are looking for, these guys are not catching 8, 9, 10 of these big fish a day. They're getting 1 to 2 to 3 shots. And if they get them in, they're heroes. If they don't,
they're not.
They've missed a big opportunity to move up on the leaderboard.
You're talking about the bluegill. Wasn't it when Dean Rojas won? I believe the last time he won. Was not the jointed bluegill sort of swim bait thing part of his arsenal, especially
No,
the first part
he
of
was
the
throwing. It was when Rojas won here. He was throwing a little topwater popper in the morning. I remember being in his boat actually when he caught 2 of his big ones, and then he would go to, fish on beds or just blind sight fishing. Was fishing that little that little bluegill. That little
that's
flat
what. Yeah,
plastic bluegill.
Yeah.
Man,
And not too
you
far
did a
from where
heck
I'm
of a job
assuming Chris
bouncing
Lane
around
is
the
right
boat
now.
on that one. I never knew where you were, but I know you were moving. I didn't know which way he was going. They're so mean. You see how much he jumped? Like 15 times. Woo! We got him in. Like I said, just the edge of these grass patches.
Oh, that signal is a fragile thing right there.
Well, it's about once an hour. Once an hour, the boogeyman shows up down here.
Absolutely. I mean, it has been a freak parade today, in a good way. Take a break. Thank goodness. About the time we lost Kevin VanDam's signal, Hank Cherry's signal, Chris Lane steps up with this. Things are working out for us today. I hope they continue to do so.
Still got a VanDam with 2 fish in his live well.
That's about a lot of